Let's talk about creativity today. There's a popular survey that was conducted by IBM of 1,500 CEOs from 60 countries and 33 industries, and it identified creativity as the most crucial factor for future success. And yet, there's another study that suggests creativity is critically valuable, but it's been declining significantly on a global scale over the last 20 years. Now, in all the circles that I'm putting an ear to and listening, the common conversation seems to be about the change that's in the air with government, ecological, social, technological. Right now, we've got this AI revolution, which is exciting some and scaring the pants off of many others. So many are expressing a fear of how to transcend all this and move humanity forward. It's a conversation I'm observing in every sector of life that I'm interested in or follow or paying attention to. And my life's own journey has been about exploration, creativity, flowering the self, or exploring what my own potential is. For me, creativity is the answer. And I mean that in the most universal sense of the word. And why, when I do artist in residences with schools to bring creativity into the classroom, the educational infrastructure, I do my best to remind the infrastructure, the parents, the teachers, those decision makers who are engineering curriculums. We as a society are making a big mistake by removing art from the curriculum when there are budget cuts. This demonstrates a lack of understanding as to the true importance of creativity for all humanity. You see, art class, in my view, is not there to engineer future Picassos. You should not look at art class as the class to choose if you have an interest to become an artist. This is a misunderstanding of the value and importance of creativity. Today, scientists are understanding the brain, interestingly, in a way that masters thousands of years ago understood by looking through another tool set. It may not have been a microscope or electronic technologies, but it was through an observation. for which today the scientist looks at our brain, the neuroscientist in particular, and sees that the left side has to do with memories of analysis, critical thinking, all kinds of functionality that the education system has really emphasized. But what about the right side of the brain? This dimension of presence, spatialness, openness. After all, they always refer to the right side of the brain as the creative area of our intelligence, if you want to call it that. If we look at the brain as a muscle oriented to intelligence. I'm going to leave that for now as that, because we can dive really deep into the potential of what intelligence is and where it comes from. But if we can realize that creativity is a developable practice that, when utilized, can be functional and valuable in all aspects of society, career, lifestyle, from business, engineering, medicine, finance, education, sports. Why? Well, creativity is essential to innovation, to solving problems, to providing answers to society's needs, and maximizing human potential. Yet, where is creativity nurtured today in our social infrastructure? If the school system is removing it altogether when there's budget restraints, and it's thought of as a secondary component to an education, well, what are we saying? What are we understanding about ourselves? There are 2,000-year-old quotes that say, "Where there is no vision, a society perishes." Well, what is vision? What does it mean to deploy a visionary mindset? Well, in business, that could be people like Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, any entrepreneur who has invented or innovated something new and beneficial for society. And when you begin to understand that, you see how this functions for any other aspect of society, whether you're an engineer or going into medicine or finance, education, sports, etc. You can develop your intellect as powerfully, as sharply, as deeply as you like, but without nurturing your creative side, there will always be the most essential component missing. Why is this most essential component so elusive in our society today? That is a big question. A question for which I'm here to participate in providing a solution, an answer. Some of the misunderstandings of creativity is that it is a kind of gift or innate talent. And I'm here to say otherwise. I see and understand creativity through my life's commitment to it as a developable, a nurturable capability. If we can look at ourselves in three ways: our body, which you can develop and master through various training protocols. You can do the same with your mind, your intellect. That's essentially what school and study is. And there are many, many known ways to develop your mind and sharpen your intellect. So, for the sake of understanding this, let us look at creativity as a third element of your system. I make association to creativity. If we're looking at the body, I enjoy making the tie or the connection to creativity through the heart. Metaphorically and physiologically. Of course, I'm referencing also in this conversation the right side of the brain. Therefore, really, we are approaching creativity from, or I am approaching creativity from a holistic point of view. Meaning, in my practice of deployment or the development of creativity in my life for my career and living, is by understanding its interrelationship with my body, mind, and heart. The heart is the most elusive aspect for the literal thinking person. It's the most intangible, but that doesn't make it less valuable. Why do I speak of the body, heart, mind relationship? Or from top down, mind, heart, body? The heart is at the center, visually. And the reason why I put body, if you want to look from a visual point of view, at the lowest tier, it doesn't mean less important, but I'm referring, when I look at the body, the point in the system, if the intellect or mind or thinking mind, we would associate with the brain. The heart, let's put it at the center where the heart lives. And for the body, let's look 2 inches below your belly button. You could say that creativity ultimately is a process by which, when your system, these 3 aspects of you, are in a harmonious state, a flow state, the access to creative intelligence becomes available to you. Sort of like that light bulb effect we often culturally refer to when a great idea comes to you. Where did it come from? In a spontaneous moment, a great idea manifested. Well, as we explore creativity and the nurturing of it, this becomes more understood how this phenomenon occurs. A consequential quality that can be deployed consciously or occur as a consequence of your unconscious action, meaning you happen to be in a very relaxed state as you are standing in the beautifully warm shower, relaxed, and for a moment drifted into an open mind, open heart, relaxed body state. And sure enough, an idea popped into your head. That's an outcome that occurred by your natural but unknowing activation of a creative state. Now, what if you are given a protocol to deploy consciously this state that was akin to creativity? Would you not be intrigued to practice this protocol just as you deploy using discipline a practice of exercise for your body, or perhaps a practice of exercise or discipline for your mind? After all, that is what you could categorize meditation as, or whatever the therapist prescribes, or whatever entrepreneurial discipline technique you might utilize, or the memorization tactics that you utilize in school, or critical analysis, chess playing. There is no shortage of exercises that we can see to utilize to develop the mind. So, when we understand that every human being has the right, the divine capacity to activate this dimension of creativity, and if we understand that creativity is like the spice of life, it's what brings the color, it's what brings the beauty, it's what brings the excitement, the innovation. It is how you solve the problems. It is how you co-create, because creativity has a quality to it that is akin to cooperation. Cooperation is a symptom of creativity. Why? Because creativity is a realized state of one's consciousness that is an outcome of openness. So if you're not practicing consciously to be open-minded and open-hearted with a relaxed flow state in your body, then your creative capability will be diminished simply by looking at your system from a physiological point of view. Now, that can be easily misunderstood because there's no shortage of great art that came from great struggle. So a person might say, wait a minute, don't I need to suffer to be creative? And isn't suffering tense? Hard? Well, the access to the innovation is instantaneous. How you deploy that vision can be as hard and suffering as you wish it to be. Therefore, to activate the vision or the visionary state, or to prepare the earth or the soil for which you're planting a seed to grow, these are the idyllic conditions that you don't have to depend on by coincidental activity. For example, Albert Einstein himself, discovered that when he would pick up his violin, great ideas would come to him. So what was happening? He would relax into a certain state of meditativeness or consciousness. And as he would play his violin, great light bulbs would go off. And then he would engineer his time to reveal or bring to fruition those visions into a way that society could benefit. And it's him who said, I quote, "Imagination is more important than knowledge." So what is Einstein saying? We refer to Einstein as an extraordinary genius. We relate to Albert Einstein as having an extraordinary mind, an extremely sharp intellect. Yet he himself is telling us that imagination is more important than that. Why? You can develop your intellect to great levels, but without the vision of creativity, nothing new will come. No great innovation, no great solution, because the intellect without creativity is just a regurgitation of the problems that already exist or the solutions that have already been deployed. And as that quote I stated earlier suggests, without vision, the society perishes. And this is why I am referring to the importance of creativity as something that every human being has availability to. It's not like sports where if you don't have a certain physique, it does not matter how much you dream to be a basketball player. Without certain elements, the likelihood become much less likely. Or in any field, each person has certain traits that could make them more capable in that field. If you gravitate towards math in the way your intellect loves numbers. You're going to perhaps thrive in an engineering or a science realm, whereas someone else whose mind is more attuned to visuals or sound, they're going to thrive in other fields and other areas. And we see this and we recognize this. But creativity is not a skill set that depends on your intellect, the nature of your intellect, or the nature of your body. It is not contingent on these qualities. This is the great misunderstanding. Even young children who come into an art class and are first asked to draw a tree quickly realize in their mind that they're not a good artist because they can't draw the tree. Now, why haven't they been corrected? That to be a great artist or to be creative has nothing to do with you recreating what you see with a pencil. That is a skill set for those who want that skill set. But that is not indicative of the power and possibility of creativity. That is the first step to realizing the possibility of what we can be. Let us walk that journey and begin activating and practicing creativity in all our lives to make this world a better, more beautiful place to be.